How's it going? Good. Great to hear that. Hi, my name's Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So one of the things that people will bring to me quite often is a real pain of the heart. And that pain of the heart is this: I want to love God, but I don't feel God's love. That is genuine, that's real. In fact, I imagine many people who are watching this or listening to this, that's your story. I want to love God, but I don't feel God's love. And sometimes people say, that's okay, because he doesn't need to love me, it's okay. And other people say, yeah, if I don't feel God's love, I'm gone. I'm out the door, sayonara, see ya. Like, we can have a different reaction to that. Sometimes, again, people say, it's fine, I don't really need it, it's no big deal. And sometimes people say, well, if I don't have it, then I'm gone. I want to love God, but I don't feel God's love. I get it. So I completely get it. First question I have to ask, though, is what should God's love feel like? Now, yes, we all know that love is a feeling, and we also all know that love is more than a feeling. Definitely. Boston was right. But what does God's love feel like? What should God's love feel like? It's a big question. I ask that question not to mock anybody who says I don't feel God's love, but to really ask that question in a deeper way. Here's an example. So some of you are familiar with the book, The 5 Love Languages. I think it's a really helpful book to talk about different ways in which people receive love, the different ways in which people give love. So the 5 love languages classically are gift giving, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, and words of affirmation. Did I say that already? Gift giving. Affection. That's physical touch. That's it. Typically, any given person has one or more that they kind of default to. That's how they speak love, how they give love, and also one or two or three, how they most naturally receive love. So I think this is fascinating because I remember talking with a student here years ago, and she was really torn because she said, my dad just doesn't love me. And that can be a real thing, right? It's possible that parents, your children don't love you back the way you love them. And it's very true that children, sometimes your parents don't love you the way you love them. So she had this pain in her heart of, my dad just doesn't love me. And he proved it to me this weekend. I'm like, okay, well, tell me more about this. And so what she described, though, was she said, I drove home this weekend and, I surprised my family and my dad seemed excited to see me, but then he gave me a hug and then he walked out the door and he moved my stuff in from the car. And then he just spent the whole time I was home, he basically spent it in the driveway. And he was, vacuuming out my car, and he gave me an oil change, and he got my tires rotated, and I was just like, Dad, I'm here for the whole weekend, and you're not even talking to me. You're not even spending time with me. You're not even telling me you love me. You're just out in the driveway working on the car. Now you might see where this is going. What she wanted her father to speak those words, to say, you're my beloved daughter. I love you. I know you. I cherish you. She would want that. Who wouldn't want that? But her father was telling her he loved her. He was just telling her he loved her in a way that she wasn't ready for, in a way that she didn't necessarily value, in a way that she couldn't really hear it. Because he was out there in the car, taking care of the car, not because he loves cars. He was taking care of her car because he loves her. But she just didn't feel it because it was not the way in which she was wired, right? But her dad, didn't love her less. In fact, he was demonstrating to her how deeply and how profoundly he loved her. And I think something is true when it comes to God. Now, of course, God has all the love languages. God is love himself. But a lot of times, there's a way in which we want God to love us. I want God to love me by giving me a certain feeling, which is not bad. It's such a gift. I want God to love me by giving the thing I ask, and that's not bad. That can be a miracle. It can be a gift. But most often, God loves us in the way that he knows is best for us. And that's not always the way that we most quickly or readily or easily hear it or receive it, but it's the way we need it. So I know for myself, years ago, this is one of those things where I had that same frustration. For myself, I was just like, I see people and they seem to be having an emotional experience, a spiritual experience where they're just raising their hands and praising the Lord. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Or they're crying. And I'm like, I want to cry, But then I realized God was loving me. He was touching my heart, but he was touching my heart through other means. He was touching my heart through my imagination. He was touching my heart through my intellect. He was touching my heart through the truth. That's the way that God first won my life to him, is that he just revealed to me not only that he's love and that he's goodness, that he's beauty, but he revealed to me that he is truth. And that's how he first won me over to him. Now, that's kind of cerebral, right? It's kind of intellectual. But I knew that he existed. And I knew that he was truth. And so even when I didn't feel it, I knew it was true. You know, again, I got bothered by that because I was like, well, I want to feel what everyone else is feeling. I want to have the feeling of God's love for me. But again, God loves us the way he knows we need. And God knows me. And he knows that if I had first encountered him in that emotional way, then I would have always wondered, was it just an emotion? If I had first encountered God in that way that touched my heart and moved my heart and had tears or whatever the thing was, I would always wonder, wait, was that all just, kind of a, was it, as I said, was it all just emotion? But God knows me and he knows you. So he knew that the way he needed to win me over was through facts and through logic and through just showing me that he is true. And then he touched my heart, touched my mind by revealing beauty. And he opened my eyes to the beauty of his world, the beauty of creation, the beauty of other people. And then he opened my mind and my heart to goodness. And it's those three things built on each other, that truth and beauty and goodness, that God, I don't want to say finally broke to my heart, but those three things that penetrated my heart in a way that I could not have expected and could not have anticipated. And if you had stopped me at any point along the way, I would say, yeah, I know God loves me intellectually, but I haven't experienced his love. Even though every step along the way, from the intellect, from the truth, to the beauty, all the way to the goodness, God was showing me how much he loved me. We live in a world that is so full of goodness. It's broken, yes, of course, but a world so full of goodness. That's how God is showing you he loves you. There's people in your life who actually see you and they know you and they love you. That's how God is showing you that he loves you. You have breath in your lungs right now. That's one of the ways God is showing you that he loves you. These are the many, not just 5. These are the multiplicity of God's love languages. I know it's not necessarily always the way that we want him to love us, but God does love us. It might not be the way you want God to love you, but he does love you right now. He is not waiting. So open your eyes. I open mine. Open your heart as I open mine. And just simply let God love us. Not the way necessarily we want, but the way that we need. From all this here to presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless. Because he loves you.